And when we read the Bible, we can see that some of the activities of people who are calling themselves Christians, when Tim was saying, line it up with the Bible, then it doesn't actually match up. So, but throughout all these events, there's always been Christians who are seeking to preach the gospel. So, for example, another really famous era that we often talk about is the Crusades, where the European Crusaders went and pursued war on the Muslims who were down in Jerusalem to try and take Jerusalem. And so there were popes and Christian leaders and kings and princes from all over Europe who joined that cause and were teaching people that it was a holy war, and that if people joined that holy war and helped to liberate Jerusalem for the church, then they would gain entrance into heaven for that work. So, there's some terrible atrocities that took place during those crusades. There was 3-4 crusades, maybe even more. One of the crusades was the Children's Crusade, where a whole heap of children went down to invade Jerusalem by themselves, and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of children died on the way down there. There was another crusade that got to Constantinople and decided they couldn't be bothered going all the way down to Jerusalem, so they attacked Constantinople. So, but now we can laugh at that today, but that the shadow of those events actually stretch all the way through to our generation, and people still raise that in Christian conversation. If you evangelize today and you're sharing the gospel with someone, they go, "Oh yeah, here you go again, you crusaders who went down and did all those atrocities down in Jerusalem." But not many people know that at the same time as some of those crusades were taking place, there were missionaries who were leaving Europe, going down into Africa and living with African communities and participating in their communities, and at the same time sharing the truth and love of Jesus in those communities. These were people who refused to take place in those crusades. So you can read contemporary accounts from people at that time who were saying, "Oh no, that's not the way to build the kingdom of God. That's not right." So so I think we've got to just look beyond the veneer of some of these stories and look a little bit deeper. Rightly, many people say, well, why did so many Christians participate in slave trading? And rightly so. That was a terrible stain on Western history, that Westerners went to Africa and took African people and made them slaves on cotton plantations and within sugar plantations and things like that. But at the same time as some Westerners who were calling themselves Christians were engaging in slavery, there were other Christians from Eastern Europe who were selling themselves into slavery so that they could minister to and share the gospel with slaves, which is not very common and much told. But so Christian history is, as John Dixon says, there's examples of terrible, sad things, and there's also examples of beautiful piety as well.